I don't want to talk about what anyone thinks of Brock Purdy because we all know
doesn't matter.
Look at it this way. People have basically chosen sides and they refuse to come off their side. And some people have chosen incorrectly. And so they're going to be wrong about how they evaluate them all year. Whatever. It doesn't matter. What we also have going on in football right now is an experiment in the art of the elite quarterback argument. There is no more elite quarterback in this league than Patrick Mahomes. Would you agree with me on that? I mean, he's the best.
He's the top of the heap.
Yep. Top of the heap. Exactly.
He's the standard bearer.
The tip of the spear is Patrick Mahomes. I've never seen a quarterback enter an all-time debate as quickly as Patrick Mahomes has entered the all-time debate. You want Joe, you want Elway, you want Johnny Unitas, if that's Marino. The generation you're from. You want Marino, but again, people will be like, well, he never won a Super Bowl, so I'm going to hold it against him, which is ridiculous because
Bradshaw.
Whoever you're, this guy would be the guy I would start to win one game for my life. That's the guy. Like Patrick Mahomes entered that conversation as early in his career as any quarterback is allowed to enter an all-time conversation. That is how much of the real deal he is. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs this year. I was told all you need is an elite quarterback. Well, then how come they're not? They've been shut out 3 halves in a row in their second halves. How come they're averaging 13 points a game? They've still got their elite quarterback, but they now have a team with frying pan hands all around them. And when Travis Kelce has an off game, all of a sudden the Chiefs aren't chiefing quite like they used to. So, the standard that is applied, the hypothetical scenario that people want applied to Brock Purdy, saying that in a worse situation, he wouldn't be this good. Look at Patrick Mahomes. In a worse situation, he's not half as effective as he used to be. He still throws lasers and darts and has more arm angles than, flamenco dancers got tap shoes. It's incredible what this guy can do, but the team around him isn't as good as it used to be. So your hypothetical, Brock wouldn't be this good if he weren't on this good of a team, that gets filed under no duh. Of course not. No player in this league is as good as they can be when they're in a worse situation. And right now, Mahomes is in a worse situation than he's been with talent around him at any point in time in his career. And that's why the Chiefs are struggling a little. And by the way, when I say struggling, that's a sliding scale of Chiefs level struggling. They're still fantastic, but it's a different feeling. And then, just a couple of years ago, let's run the experiment. Let's reverse engineer it. You got a really, 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 really talented quarterback who's always been in a bad situation because he's been in Detroit. Then, boop, you pick up Stafford, you pick him out of Detroit, you put him in Los Angeles, you get him with McVay, and boom, 16 games later, it's a fucking Super Bowl. So, the point that people think that the aha that they've got over Purdy, it isn't an aha at all. It's a football truth. It takes a really good team to win a championship, not just a really good quarterback, not a quarterback on a good deal in the right situation. It takes all things to win a championship. So there you go. There's my rant. I hope it made sense.
The guy's playing at a crazy high level. And when you factor in how old he is and where he's at in his career, he's playing at he's incredible.
It's absurd.
But here's the thing. There's also, the real advantage in the Niners. They talked about this, and Kyle's talked about this. I mean, they looked at veteran options, and they considered veteran options, and they even tried for some veteran options, and they were comfortable at trying to go that route. But at the end of the day, they either struck out or didn't want to make the expenditure to go after those veteran options. And then when they, hearing Lynch talk about it, it's like there's a big difference in the NFL. I mean, this is, when did Seattle win their Super Bowl? They won it with young Russell Wilson on a rookie contract. And that's really, I think, what the 49ers were committed to more than they were committed to Trey Lance, or more even that they're committed to Brock Purdy. It's like they won it specifically. It was about get that quarterback on a rookie deal and have Kittle and Trent and Bosa and, Ayuk and Debo and all these great, different transcendent type talents that they have throughout their football team. I mean, the Niners have some of the best top end talent in the entire league, and it's partly because they're paying Brock Purdy $840,000, while top tier or even just veteran middle of the tier quarterbacks are making between $25 and $40 million. Derek Carr is totally ordinary. He makes $44 million. I mean, Brock Purdy's making $850,000. It matters a ton in a cap sport. So, now it's incumbent on, it's a unique, it puts the teams that go for the rookie quarterbacks in a unique spot because, now as rookies, you're looking for somebody who can come in and win the Super Bowl. And how many young quarterbacks are ready to do that? But that's the beautiful part about this situation is that there's a veteran-like mindset to Brock Purdy, who played 4 years in college and has all that experience. And so he's a very refined young quarterback, and you can see that already. And he's, surrounded by some of the best talents in the game in Kyle Shanahan's offense. So, yeah, the 49ers are absolutely in their go window. And if Shanahan and Lynch are going to get a Super Bowl this year, next year seem like their best opportunities.
The window is open. Here it is. The time is now to do it under the constraints that they're playing under. So this is it. They've got this year and next year to win a Super Bowl. And if it doesn't happen, it is back to the drawing board with a whole new experiment to run. But they get to run this experiment for the rest of this year and into next year. I had somebody comment.
Back to the drawing board, by the way. You still have your head coach and your quarterback. The key elements of winning a championship are you got to have the head coach, you got to have the quarterback.
Right.
And they now have in Shanahan and Purdy their head coach and their quarterback. Shanahan's probably going to coach for at least another decade because he seems like that kind of guy. And I think Purdy's 23. So their window's not just open for this year and next year. I would say it's likely the 49ers window is open. It might be open for Trent Williams or George Kittle this year, next year. But as far as the Niners with Purdy and Shanahan, I think their window's open for the next 5 to 10 years in actuality.
Well, and that's what a really good quarterback and head coach combination can do. They can hold open windows to compete in through their abilities more than any other guys on the field. But it takes more than just those two guys to really reach the championship level. And it's just set up right now. Like there's no better time than the present or next year for the 49ers to do this. I had somebody in one of the chats that I was reading and looking at the other day saying, hey, Brock has been fantastic. I'm all aboard. And if he can go ahead and sign a team-friendly deal when it's time to get paid, he'll go down as. And I was like, I understand what you want. It's a cap sport. You don't want somebody taking so much off the table that there isn't enough for anyone else. But at the same time, like Brock Purdy's already given at the good deal office. Like Brock Purdy right now is arguably playing under the single greatest contract in global sports, right? I mean, think about it. He's
a quarterback in a league that the starters get between 25 and 50, and he's making $840,000. And I saw somebody the other day say, you got to pay this guy sooner. No, you don't have to pay him sooner, but when it's time to pay him, you got to pay him in full.
Exactly. And it's a blessing to have this guy on the deal that he's on. He's got more value on his contract than I think anybody else in sports globally. I mean, I think he's the best value, bang for the buck in any professional contract, any sport, any continent. That's who Brock Purdy has been.